Yes, here we go with the final Frontier opening pair for the week. 4-day trading. Of course, we all know the first trading day of the year went for the New Year, holiday Monday. So over the last 3 days, the markets across Africa had been a little bit mixed, with Nigerian stock market balking that big rally for the first 2 days of session. On Thursday, the third trading day, the market was booked sharply down, roughly 430 billion naira in haircut for the total listed equities on the Nigerian bourse, 1.53% down south as far as the oil share index was concerned, brought about by the second largest cement maker, Boa Cement, that dived. That was moderated, however, by gains in the banking sector, with names such as Sterling Bank and GITCO, as well as the largest brewer in Nigeria, Nigerian Breweries, making a gain. That was how the market finished Thursday. Today is the final trading day. The BRVM slumped by 0.12%, holding the 200 psychological reading. The stock market in Cairo continued to remain attractive to foreign investors because the Egyptian pound slumped on the devaluation that the authorities in Egypt are dealing with. So you've got a very cheap market for US dollars investors coming in from the outside. Dollar has seen a very strong rally in 2022, and that's continuing in the new year. Yesterday, the dollar index finished about 1% to the upside around 7 p.m. local time. So that makes the Cairo market cheap for investors. So that was a big jump, 2.86%. Then you've got to look at the Nairobi Bourse making its first gain in the new year, 30 basis points on the back of gains made by a few listed companies. Then, of course, finally, the 5 markets we track on the show for you. The GSE went up 1.7%, 1.17% on the back of gains, strong gains by the resources index, up by roughly 3%. Almost all the big names in the mining resources were in the green on Thursday. Part of the news coming through from the mining sector and what the new budget in South Africa under President Ramaphosa would mean for this particular sector. 75,000, that's what we saw. The Egyptian market, go back to that, is 16,000 better. That's the EGX30, a new reading, a new high for that index. Quite a good way to start the new year for a number of African exchanges, including the market in Harare, Zimbabwe, where the Zimbabwe stock index climbed out to 20,000 new reading on Thursday. Okay, let's take it down. Look at the big news across East Africa. For this Friday, as we say, thank God it's Friday, the first Friday in the new year, foreign investors pulled roughly 22 billion shillings out of the Kenyan market in 2022. That is on the back of the pre-election and after the election. Of course, you've got a bit of currency issues to deal with. KenGen, which is the biggest power generating company listed on the Nairobi Bourse, is looking to increase its renewable energy deployment in the new year, 2023, while debt servicing is putting pressure on revenues. That's according to the Central Bank of Uganda. That sounds similar to Nigeria, where the new president in Nigeria will be inheriting $172 billion debt from the 1st of June. There's a whole lot of scratching going on right now with Nigeria's budget, which is the final one for President Buhari in office. Then let's look at Uganda, saying the shipping of the first fuel cargo from ports has taken place, while the Italian energy giant Eni says it's signed a deal to deploy second floating liquefied natural gas in DR Congo. You've been briefed. East Africa. Let's go to West Africa, and which includes Nigeria, where the Nigeria football got 200 million naira in local currency yesterday from the GTI Capital, the first of such capital market funding to support the country's Premier League, which starts on Sunday. The 8th, don't miss that. We're going to play ball on Sunday. Nigeria Premier League is taking off. You've got the first investment money coming through to support the players, the club size across the country, a first major capital market support for the Nigeria's football and the sporting industry. And to say congratulations to GTI Capital, the Nigeria Football Federation, and the IMC, and others within that particular arrangement. Then, of course, the central bank has clarified that the sale of Polaris Bank Tier 3 commercial bank followed due process last year, and online news otherwise should be discounted. Africa Energy Chamber, which is a leading Pan-African energy advocacy group based in South Africa is holding its first meet and greet meeting in London with European investors looking to garner more support for Africa's hydrocarbon industry. That is taking place on January the 26th. Quite a bit of events are beginning to look up because Angola's investment summit will be taking place about the same week. Nigeria's first Monetary Policy Committee meeting in the new year will be January 24th and 25th. Keep an eye on the 2nd to the 3rd and final week of January for a lot of revving up investment business activities across the continent. Then you've got MTN and Orange says they could invest up to 156 billion CFA franc in Cameroon to support their operations. The IMF is now leaving Ghana and other debt-distressed countries in the lodge, says they're going to support the resolution of those debt problems. Let's go to Southern Africa. Eskom and its load shedding is continuing, and that's not really good news for the country, but good news for Absa Group, one of the biggest financial services group on the African continent, retaining its BB- rating with Fitch, and the outlook is stable. Zimbabwe's biggest brewer, Delta, share price rose yesterday on the market the morning after the company announced $60 million capital expenditure in the new year 2023 to improve its operations. And the civil servants in Malawi are going on strike from next week, January the 9th. They're protesting. They're going on strike. They're asking for higher wages. And that is not quite some good news early in the year. Malawi currently see hundreds of deaths on the back of a cholera pandemic that is ravaging this landlocked Southern African country. In the meantime, Zimbabwe is reporting tourism revenue between January and November last year of roughly $600 million. But we'll see a similar figure, but much bigger from North Africa. If you look at the next slide, talking about North Africa, where Morocco is reporting that is January to October tourism revenue was in the range of about $20 billion. Morocco is one of Africa's iconic and headline-grabbing tourism destination. In the meantime, the oil minister for Egypt, El Moula, says he's looking at the operationalization of LNG stations at full capacity across Egypt in the current year, 2023, while the country's non-oil exports was about $11.57 billion January to November last year. Quite a bit of backward-looking economic data will be coming through this month, by the way. Libya says it posted $28 billion in public revenue last year. About $26 billion of that had already been spent, while Tunisia's central bank is warning that inflation could spiral without interest rate hike. Outlook is about 75 basis points to 8%, and that's coming from the central bank in Tunis. Of course, Tunisia stock market also yesterday saw a very decent gain, roughly 1%, on the back of some of the news around some of the listed companies that are now taking their shares, like Adwe, taking the shares out of the main market onto the over-the-counter market. Quite a lot to grab across Frontier Africa. As always, here on Frontier Africa Reports, we leave no news across the continent. We leave no one behind. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you very soon.